On November 2nd, 2024, Harry Sisson tweeted this photo with the caption, "We're Gen Z voters and we all proudly voted for Kamala Harris. Real men support Harris." The next day, this was quoted by Robert J. O'Neill, who said, "You're not men. You're boys. If there was no social media, you would be my concubines." This is the Museum of Twitter, the show where we talk about the most important tweets in the history of Twitter.com. There were a lot of weird tweets about the 2024 election. Some of them I've covered, some of them I still will cover, but this one just became eligible today, and this really might be the weirdest. Because just think about what's going on here. So what first happened is that Harry Sisson, Dean Withers, and some other Gen Z influencers made a post about how real men voted for Kamala Harris, basically trying to stave off that narrative that young Gen Z men were voting for Trump. Of course, that narrative ended up being somewhat true, but whatever. It's a fairly innocent post, and definitely did not elicit the reaction that Robert J. O'Neill gave. Now, Robert J. O'Neill is a Fox News contributor, a former Navy SEAL, and he is someone who claims to have been the person to kill Osama bin Laden. I say claims because obviously I wasn't there, and I know multiple people claim that. But now he spends his time quote tweeting Harry Sisson on Twitter. In the first part of his tweet is general conservative stuff, like "you're not men, you're boys," you know, basically saying that anyone who votes for a Democrat is not a real man. Like, that's not the craziest thing that a Fox News contributor has ever said. But the second sentence is really where it gets problematic. He says if it was not for social media, they would be his concubines. Now, I don't know how much you paid attention in history class when you learned about the cultures where rich people and kings would have concubines, which were, and it's a little more complicated this, but to put it simply, sex slaves. And so what Robert is saying is that if we're not for social media, not if it weren't for like democracy or the modern world, but specifically if it were not for social media, Harry Sisson, Dean Withers, and the three guys in the back would be Robert J. O'Neill's concubines. But that, of course, is an odd thing to say out loud. And when he was pressed on this, like when people like Mighty Keith said, "Brother, do you know what concubine means?" he made a follow-up video. And in it, he doubled down. He said, quote, "You don't know how to fight, basically, and I do whatever I want with you." And this original tweet is still up. I really don't know how else you can read him saying that you would be my concubines, and then when asked to follow up on it saying, "I do whatever I want with you." Like, there's only one way to read that. Another tweet he made that was deleted when this guy Jake said bro was doubling down and still has no idea what he said. He said, "No, Jake, I'm telling you exactly what betas like you will be used for. Sex and food. Mostly food." Okay, now he's trying to back off the sex part, but he's not denying the fact that, in his words, betas would be used for sex. And to sum up why this tweet is funny, I don't think anyone could say it better than Reddit Gold, who in July said, "This is the funniest tweet on this website. No matter your politics, we can all agree that the guy who killed bin Laden saying that he wants a harem of twinks is fucking funny as hell." Because yeah, it's not lost on me that all the guys in that car do look like that. And one of the times this tweet is referenced is when there are photos of guys who look like that, like this guy Craig Liddell posted some young people in the Conservative Party in England, and Darcy Miller said, "You're not men, you're boys. If there's no social media, you would be my concubines." Sexy RFK quoted a photo of gays for Trump with, "You're not men, you're boys. If there's no social media, you would be my concubines." And Grace tweeted out a photo of Paul Ryan, Eric Cantor, and Kevin McCarthy for a book called Young Guns from 2010 with the caption, "You're not men, you're boys. If there's no social media, you'll be my concubines." And like, there's definitely a lot going on here in the subtext, and I don't really know how to talk about it at all. I was gonna say how to talk about it on this app, but like, I don't know how to even begin to talk about it. Like, this tweet was brought up when this guy Nicholas Decker said, "Our enemies secretly want to keep us as sex slave, is smut, not social criticism." And Ralph responded with the screenshot of this tweet because, like, maybe that is actually truth. Like, you don't want to read something that nefarious into the people you disagree with politically. But again, I just don't know what else you're supposed to take from this. Another great take was from the new Jan Brady, who said, "Right-wingers will say shit like this, then be mad when a movie about ancient Rome was a little gay." Because ultimately, I would have no problem if Robert J. O'Neill was a little gay. But I think that he would have a problem with that about himself, and he's like a Fox News contributor. But like, I don't need the sexual confusion of a Fox News guy, and the sexual confusion of an entire political party of people, to be completely honest with you, to ruin the country. Like, Sonny Bunch was spot on when he put this quote into a speech bubble from Baron Harkonnen from Dune. Because this is the type of thing that a sci-fi Baron says, not a Fox News contributor. And not only has this followed Robert J. O'Neill everywhere, it also follows Harry everywhere. Like when Harry posted a photo of him eating dinner, Doomer said, "POV, you are the guy who killed Osama bin Laden out to dinner with one of your concubines." But definitely my favorite time this has ever been referenced is when Moni showed a drop-down menu for like a survey that asked for their civil status, and one of the options was concubinage, which led Nikolai to respond, finally an option for them, with a photo of the guys in the car. And I was curious what the reaction of people in the Navy SEALs was to this, and on r/Navy SEALs, someone posted, "Rob spent too much time in Afghanistan." Look, I think it would be best for everyone if Robert sorted out whatever he's got going on out in his head. Because there are lots of ways you could react to this photo of these five guys in the car. There are lots of ways you can make fun of them. But if your thought goes to concubinage first and foremost, that is definitely a you problem. And if you don't have someone in your life to pull you aside and say like, "Hey man, you shouldn't have brought up concubines in response to that photo," then you really need to sort out who's in your life. Follow me for a new tweet every day, and if you like the show and you want to support me, please go to patreon.com/museum of Twitter. We get a weekly bonus episode called Museum of Not Twitter, and you get to vote when I cover it on Subscriber Sundays.